What's going on, YouTube? This is what Josh do, and this is an exciting video, and this is a video I should have done months ago. It got delayed, but here it is. This is the Sharge power bank. This was sent to me. I did not pay for this unit, but I am excited to make this video. Alright, so taking a look at the packaging, the front of it, it says Sharge. It's got some sort of numbers and letters here, and then it's the Shargeek 140 power bank, 140 watts maximum, 20,000 mAh. On this side, we can see 20,000 mAh, 140 watts total output, transparent design, smart display, 140 watts, or yeah, just different languages, okay. And then we have some stuff here. They have a Discord. That's pretty cool. I'll have to join that later because I have a Discord myself. They also have an Instagram and then some other stuff there. And then lots of good information here on the back of it. So it has the contents, which is power bank, cable, user manual, carrying bag. We got some stuff here. Then we have the specifications. So these are really important here. This is going to be USB-C and USB-A. So it's a 72 watt hour. It should be just fine on a plane. And then USB-C can do 20 volts, 5 amps for 100 watts. And then, yeah, so 40 watts, that's that information there. And then some other safety listings and stuff down there. And then here it's just the power bank, and it says actual size. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's open this thing up. I'm excited because as someone who has gaming handhelds and actually uses them almost daily, not quite every single day, being able to power those hungry devices without needing a wall outlet is absolutely huge. You can power this thing anywhere, including a plane. All right, so we have this. It says open. Okay, that lifts up, peels. It's kind of like a void. It knows that it's been opened. Oh no! You cannot trick them. All right, and there's some sort of like pull tab here or something to hold on to. All right, let's lift it up. So far, it's a pretty nice unboxing experience. Oh, this looks so good. It's so thin. All right, take a look at everything you get in here. How do you get inside? All right, there's that carrying case. Comes with a cable. All right, that's about it. Some sort of book here, product safety, customer service. Okay. And then this, it's gonna be the user manual, which is not in my language. Okay, that's in my language. Wow, very simple. There you go. It all fits on one screen, really. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's take a look at it. So here we've got Sharge 20,000 140 airline safe. It's literally on the packaging there on the outside of it. You got all the specifications we saw. Nothing. And then here we have some safety listings. That's good to see. On this side, you've got the USB-C and the USB-A. I wish it would have just been 2 USB-C, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. Because if you do input and it can do output at the same time, you're limited to whatever this USB-A output can do, which is going to be pretty slow. We have a nice little carrying pouch for it, so you can keep it nice and, you know, good looking. It's got a nice pull string. That's pretty cool. And yeah, so it'll throw it around in backpacks and it won't get all scratched up and damaged. And then we have the cable. All right, so it is branded Sharge. Okay, very cool. All right, so we have this anchor. I'll switch out one of these cables for the one that comes with. That's my watch. I'll just unplug all of these. Okay, so we're gonna connect the cable that it comes with into this port. This can do 140 on a single port. We'll grab our handy dandy little tester so we can see even more numbers and stats. I wanna see this little screen turn on. Plug that in. All right, and then right away we're seeing that it's currently charging. Okay, so the screen shows 28 minutes until fully charged. It shows a 60 watt input and the battery's at 69%. We have no output. And here we can see that it can do 20 volts, 5 amps for the input. So we'll unplug that, plug it back in. All right, so right away we're seeing the charge limit is about 60 watts. And we'll confirm that by using a different 100 watt. Plug this into the other thing. And yeah, so it looks like we have a 60 watt input limit, which isn't very fast, but it is still relatively fast. Now, what about the output? All right, so we're inputting at 60 watts. Let's plug in Oh, I'm gonna have to disconnect this thing. So we'll plug that in, plug in this USB port here, and then we have a handy dandy screen. Now let's connect up a phone, charging, and it switched over to fast charging. So look at that, man, 15 watts. That's pretty fast. So yeah, now we're drawing 60 watts of input into this thing, but we're putting out 15.7. And looking at the wall, we are outputting 65 watts directly from the wall. So this thing is not going to increase its charging speed when you plug in something else. So there it says 29 minutes until full. If we disconnect the phone that it's currently charging, let's see if that number changes, which it does. It says 25 minutes now, because now we don't have an output. All right, pretty cool, pretty cool. So we're gonna let this thing fully charge. And then I want to see if this thing can sustain, that's a hard word to say. So I want to see if this thing can sustain 100 watts continuous and not throttle. So let's let this finish charging. All right, so here we are. We are a few days into this test. I've used this thing several times now. I used it today to charge my ROG Ally X. It can charge at 100 watts using USB-C. And I can tell you safely that if you need something that can do 100 watts continuous, this is not your power bank. This is not your power bank. In fact, it's so warm right now that it's throttling the charging to just 43 watts. Looking at the thermal gun, we're seeing temperatures of 106 to 110 maximum, which isn't that bad. That's Fahrenheit. But yeah, so a solution I have found is if you use like a USB powered fan like this and you connect it to like a power source, such as like right here on this thing, you can charge this thing at 60 watts from empty to full. But you're gonna need to cool it down to do that. And it will definitely sustain 100 watts the entire time if you also put a fan on this thing. I mean, this is very warm to the touch right now. It's only 110, which isn't like completely awful. I've seen much higher. So we're only charging at 43 watts. So I've done a few different tests where I've used this to charge up my DC powered fridge, and at 100 watts, it quickly throttled to like, I think 60 watts. It got very hot. It got to like 120, I think. And then last night, this thing was at 85%. Once it got to 55%, it went from 100 watts output to just 60 watts output. And it continued that. And then today, again, we charged it to 100%. And I can't remember exactly what battery percentage, but I mean, it throttled down to 60 watts the rest of the way. So you're gonna definitely overheat this thing if you don't keep some sort of airflow on it, and it's going to throttle its input and its output. That's not to say this isn't worth it. You shouldn't get this. I'm just making it very clear the expectations. So something like this guy right here, this is the Sharge 170 watt. This is going to be able to sustain 100 watts for its entire lifespan. Like from full to empty, you're gonna be able to output 100 watts. And from empty to full, you're gonna be able to put in, I think it was 100, you'll have to watch the original video because I don't quite remember, but I'm certain this thing can do 140 watts of input most of its life. I don't really recall, but it charges way faster than this thing because this thing charges at 60 on its best days, and then about 40, you know, once it gets to a temperature. It's been charging at 40 watts for a while now. So yeah, this thing's gonna be faster recharging, faster output, faster everything. It's gonna have a higher price tag too, but if you need 100 watts continuous, get this one, not this one. Now, where this thing is going to definitely shine is if you have like a Nintendo Switch 2, for example, and you wanna charge this thing up, it's gonna be able to charge it at its full speed for its entire life. From a full power bank to a dead power bank, it's gonna be able to recharge the Switch 2 at its top speed. That's also relevant to the Steam Deck here. So the Steam Deck can charge at 45 watts. This thing will be able to charge the Steam Deck at its full speed from a full power bank to an empty power bank with no problems at all. If you plan on using this to charge something that can do 100 watts, you're going to throttle relatively quickly and only charge at 60 watts the rest of the way. So, I mean, 60 watts is still better than nothing, but I would rather charge at 100 watts than 60 watts. So I know that if I'm going to charge at my RG Ally X right here, then I'm going to use the Charge 170 right here. Yeah, 170. It's also a 24,000 milliamp battery versus a 20,000, and it's still airline safe. And we're charging at 131 watts still. So this is way more of a Steam Deck battery or a Nintendo Switch 2 battery or hell, a freaking phone charger than it is, you know, something that will charge at 100 watts like a MacBook Pro or an RG Ally X. What we're gonna do now is just connect up the Samsung phone to see if we get super fast charging, which this thing should be able to do. Awesome. We do see super fast charging 2.0, and it's indicated on here by the PPS. So that's awesome. We're gonna get a very fast charge, over 30 watts. Let's go ahead and see that little animation there again. So super fast charging 2.0. And then one more time, let's get a nice close up here. Super fast charging 2.0, let's freaking go. All right, so not a bad power bank for sure. You just need to know its limitations before you get into this thing and set your expectations. Oh, that's dead. I love this thing. I'm literally charging up that Charge 170 at 132 watts right now. And I just plugged in this other power bank that was at 0%. And it's charging that one at 100 for 230 watts of output. All right, now if we get this thing to cool down, I want to see that full recharging speed. All right, that's more like it. We've got this thing charging at 63 watts of input now since we've cooled the battery down using this USB powered fan. That's not too shabby. And now we can also connect the RG Ally X here, and it's able to output at over 90 watts for now. If I turn this fan off in the next, 15 minutes or so, it will reduce this to 60 watts for the rest of the power bank's life. All right, so we're using a USB-C to XT60. So USB-C, it's going into the XT60 input on this little power station here. And as you can see, that's very impressive. We're outputting 105 watts of power. And that's also reflected on here by 98 watts of input. And then 43 watts going to the Steam Deck right here that's charging from this guy. And actually, let's just fast forward and see how long it can sustain that. Okay, so yeah, it's went down to 70, but all right, yeah, we're getting 63 watts of output again. Yeah, we're hitting 120 degrees on the thermal gun, and that's Fahrenheit. Alrighty, well that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Please also follow me on my YouTube community page. That's where I'm actually the most active right now. This is What Would Josh Do? And I'm out.